Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Long time no talk to.
This is Ashley McCleary.
Hi, it's John Klein.
Hi, John.
I think we're the first ones here. Hello? Hi.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hey, John.
Hi.
Karen's in the room as well. Hi, John.
Hey. Hi.
Okay, we're the only ones on the phone thus far.
I think Ashley is on the phone.
Oh.
She said she was. I see a bunch of people online.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, this is Kristen.
Hi, this is Nessa Holder.
I see a bunch of people in.
Yeah, it looks like everyone who is, or most folks who are on the webinar are also on the phone.
Great. So what do you think? Should we give people a minute?
I think so. Kristen, I made you the presenter.
Okay.
Are you able to share your screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. You can see it?
Yes. Can everyone else on the line see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Raise your hand if you can't see it. Sorry, I can't resist.
Hey, and Marina just joined.
Hi, Marina.
Hi, Marina.
Hi.
This is Nessa Holder. Kirsten's with me in the office. She's just discharging a patient, Kirsten Hawkins. So she's going to join us in the next few minutes.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So, welcome everybody. We are very excited for this next phase of the project because we now have impending approval for the QI maintenance certification from pediatrics, and we have the quality improvement data aggregator, or QIDA module, built and ready to go. And so today and tomorrow's two calls, which are both webinars and have the same identical content so that everybody can be part of one of them, are really about how that tool works and how it will help us be able to track the progress on the quality measures that we'll be using to hold ourselves accountable to how we're doing on the improvement adolescent preventive service delivery. And so we are very excited that the module is ready and up and running, and we are really looking forward to some, if not all, of the site participants being able to have baseline data ready to share by the time we get together at the face-to-face meeting at the beginning of April. And we realize that some of the individual practice site participants may not be able to get all their data in time for the baseline at the meeting, but getting the baseline is definitely part of the QI process, and so our hope is that at least some of the end user quality improvement folks will have their data by the time we get to the meeting in Chicago. So without any more introduction, I'm going to pass this off to Kristen and Kristen, who conveniently share the same name, to walk through what this is, what it isn't, how it works, how it will help generate summary data, and make it easier for us to share data in ways that will help improve the whole project. So thank you, Kristen, for doing that.
Sure, no problem. Well, thanks for having me, everyone. So today, the purpose of my demo is really just to get your feet wet with what QIDA is and where you can really find everything. So I really want you to get an idea of how to navigate the system. And so with that, I guess I'll just go ahead and get started. So the screen that you're looking at now is the logged out homepage for your project. So when you're ready to come in and log in to the QIDA site, you'll put in this URL here, and it's qidata.aap.org/QIAHC. So this is your specific QIDA site for your project. And so when you're ready to go ahead and get logged in, you'll put in that URL. And then over here on the right-hand side, you'll see a section to put in your AAP ID or email and your password. So depending on what your primary login is, you'll put in that here and then the password that's associated with it. I just want to mention right now, we don't have registrations done. So if you come in right now and try and put in your AAP, single sign-on, login information, you'll probably get rejected. So just keep that in mind that we haven't completed registrations yet, but we'll get to those soon. So just keep that in mind that if you try and access it now, you won't be able to. So QIDA operates best in Firefox or Chrome web browsers. So try and stick to those two when you're using the system. On paper, you should be able to use Explorer, but we sometimes see some weird technical glitches when people use Explorer. So we try and suggest that folks stick to Chrome or Firefox when using the QIDA system. So just sort of keep that in mind. If you don't have an AAP ID, we can provide some instructions for you on how to create one so that you can still take part in the project. So just, let Kristen or myself know, and we can circulate some information for you if you haven't already gotten that on how to create an ID so that you can still take part in the project. And also I want to mention that if you don't remember your password, we as AAP staff don't have access to your passwords either, so you'll just have to click this Forgot Your Password button and you'll be exported to Shop AAP where you can change the password associated with your login. So, so just sort of keep that in mind when you're accessing the site. So I'm going to go ahead and just log in as myself. So I've set up myself to have the same permissions that you all will have when you log in and get ready to go ahead and enter your data. So all of this will look very similar to you when you're accessing the site yourself. So when you log in, you'll see three tabs here. We have the Project Home, the Workspace, and the My Group tab. And so I will talk through each one of these tabs. But for this project, because we're collecting individual provider level data, you're really going to be living under the Project Home tab. That's where you're going to be able to enter in your data. That's where you'll be able to pull all of your real-time run charts and stuff like that. So I'll talk through all of them, but this is really where you're going to be living for this project. And then I also want to mention right here, you'll see this section where it says Switch Project. I don't know if you've had, if you've used QIDA before for a quality improvement project in the past, you can actually just toggle in between your QI projects here. So you don't have to log out and log back in each time to a new URL if you if you've got multiple QI projects going on. So I just want to mention that. So if you scroll down, you'll see we have a couple different sections here. We have the data collection tool section, the project survey section, and the My Document section. So I'm just going to start with the data collection tool section. Like I said, this is really where you're going to be living. This is where you're going to come in and you're going to enter in your data and pull your real-time run charts. So under this section, you'll see here, when you first log in for the first time, this Analyze Data button will say Enter Data. You'll obviously be starting on cycle 1 when you first start. I have a couple cycles of dummy data already entered in just so I can have something to show you on a run chart, but just keep that in mind that, when you log in for the first time, you'll be starting at cycle 1. So I'm actually on cycle 3, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my data collection tool. And if you just click the Enter Data button, you'll see some information up here regarding the cycle status. So you can tell, the date that you started data entry on, the last time, you entered a chart on, and then how many charts you have entered in so far. So there's a minimum requirement of 20 charts per cycle for this project. And so you'll see here, I have 19 of my 20 charts entered in. And so I'm going to go ahead and put in my last chart. So we do have some skip logic built in throughout. So just sort of keep that in mind, based on what you select, different questions, might get hidden. And then once you've submitted once you filled out the chart, make sure you hit the Submit button. Once you hit the Submit button, then the QIDA system knows to save that chart and count it towards your total number of charts. So you'll see here that now I have my 20 of 20 required charts entered in. So I can actually go ahead and close my data cycle for cycle 3. So you can also go back to your charts and review them. So, if you just want to make sure that you entered in everything correctly, you can feel free to do that, and you can just toggle over the charts and you can review what you've entered in so far. You can edit them, you can delete them. So depending on, whatever you want to do, you can feel free to do that just by toggling over the charts. So let's say I've checked everything looks good for cycle 3. I'm going to go ahead and close out my cycle. So then once you close the cycle, the Enter Data button will become the Analyze Data button, and then the next cycle will automatically open for you. So keep that in mind. Once you've closed your cycle, then you can analyze your data. So if you have a cycle that's open, you won't be able to pull your real-time run charts, but you will have access to things like your raw data and stuff like that. So if you want to, get an idea of everything you've entered into the system so far, you can feel free to do that. So just sort of keep that in mind that the system will analyze your data once the cycle's been closed. So to analyze your data, you'll just click the Analyze Data button. And you can do it next to any of the charts next to any of the cycles that you have, or you can toggle in between the cycles here, depending on, what data you want to pull. And then you'll see here's a list of all the measures we have. Here's the MyScore. So we're collecting provider level data. So this is my data that I've entered in so far. And then you can also see how you compare to your practice. So right now, this view is not super helpful because I'm the only one that has data entered in for my practice so far. But once you get going and everybody in your practice gets going, you'll be able to see how you compare to your entire practice. And so then we also have a goals listed and then our quality gaps over on the right-hand side. So just sort of keep that in mind. You can also annotate your cycles. So if there was like a specific test of change that you implemented, for that cycle that you want to make note of, you can feel free to add those notes in here and just make sure to save it. So then when it comes time to pull your real-time run charts, you'll just scroll down to the bottom here. And again, you can toggle in between all of the measures that we have programmed. I'm just going to pull it for the first one. And then you'll see some optional benchmarks here as well. So, the system will automatically default to including your data in the run chart, but you can also feel free to include your practice's data. You can also include the goal in your run charts if you want. And then you can also include the all subscriber line. So this will allow you to see how, you compare to your practice and how your practice compares to the project as a whole in regards to these measures. So I'm just going to pull it for my data and the goals and include the goal line because there's no other data entered in for the project yet. And then if you scroll down, you'll see your real-time run chart. And then if you added any annotations, those will show up here at the bottom. And so in addition to the real-time run charts, you have access to a few other reports as well. So if you come here into the selected report section, you'll see a few different reports here. So the first two are my chart data by question or by chart. So if these are the raw data reports that I referenced just a minute ago. So if you want access to your raw data, you want to see everything you've entered into the system so far, you can feel free to pull either one of these reports and get that information. Also, if there's any additional analysis that you want to do on your end that we're not measuring in the project that you want to do with your data, you can feel free to pull these. And so these two reports, they're actually the same. They contain the same information. The layouts are just different. So depending on what works best for you, you can feel free to come in and pull either one of these at any point in time. You can also pull your measurement results. So if you want to get a better idea of where those percentage points are coming from on your real-time run charts, this will give you the breakdown of the numerator and the denominator for all of the measures. So if that's easier for you to work with, or you want to create, you want to pull this Excel document with that information and create your own run charts, you can feel free to do that too. It's just another report that's available for you. And so then the last two we have are the All Measures PDF and the Individual Measure PDF. The Individual Measure PDF is going to be very similar to the real-time run chart that I just showed you. If there's just a specific measure that you want to pull the data for, include your different benchmarks, you can feel free to pull that. The All Measures PDF is going to be the project aggregate report. So if you just want to pull a run chart or a PDF for the entire project, you can feel free to pull that. So this PDF will allow you to include your data, your practices data, and the goal line as well. Or if you just want to look at the project, within the PDF, each individual run chart will be for a different measure. So if you just want to see how the entire project is doing, on the first measure, you can feel free to go ahead and pull this again at any time. So those are all the reports that you have access to, and that's how you can enter your data. If you ever have any questions or you run into any issues, technical issues, you can always feel free to reach out to us and we can help troubleshoot. But below the data collection tool section, we have the project survey section. So we'll have the practice survey, SurveyMonkey link linked here. So when you're ready to go ahead and take that, every cycle, you'll just click the Take Survey button, and this will actually export you to the SurveyMonkey link that's attached to this. So this is where you can access that as well.
And then Kristen, I'm just going to jump in for a second about the practice survey. So each participant will need to complete the practice survey only once per data cycle. So while you're entering in your 20 charts, the practice survey will only need to be completed once per cycle, but it will still need to be completed. Okay. So this is where you can access that. You'll just hit this button, and like I said, it'll export you to the SurveyMonkey link attached to it. Then the last section on the Project Home tab is the My Document section. This is just meant to be a personal resource for you. So if there's any sort of documents that you want to upload here for quick access for yourself, you can feel free to upload those here. Anything you post here is not going to be shared with anybody else in your practice or in the project. So just sort of keep that in mind. It's not supposed to be a method for sharing. It's just meant to be an easy place for you to go and access documents that are helpful for you. So that is really the Project Home tab in a nutshell. I'm going to quickly run through the Workspace and the My Group tab. They're not as exciting as the Project Home tab, but I still just want you to know what you can find there. So the Workspace tab, we don't have any content here yet, but it's available for your project staff and your project leaders to post things here. So if there's any resources that they want you to have, they can go ahead and post those here. So we recommend that you check and you recheck this tab often as new resources do become available, and this tab starts to take shape. So just sort of keep that in mind. And then the final tab we have is the My Group tab. Again, because this project is collecting individual provider level data, there's not a ton of functionality here under this tab, but you can still come here and see your practice name will be listed up here. So I can tell that Kristen and Julie are, with me in this AAP staff group. I can tell, that I've entered in my 3 cycles and I just closed out my 3rd one today. And then I can also tell that Julie hasn't started yet.
And I can tell that Kristen, started cycle 1 yesterday. So you can kind of get an idea, especially if you're trying to compare your data to your practice's data, and you realize that, nobody else has data entered in yet, you can come here and get an idea of the status of the others in your practice and see where they're at with data entry. So just something to keep in mind. Before I wrap this all up, I just wanted to mention that we have this section here where it says have a question, contact us /help button here. If you ever, like I mentioned, ever run into any technical issues or have any questions about the system, you can always feel free to reach out to us. So if you click this button here, it will pull up a ticket and it'll ask you for some information, about any issues you're experiencing, what the issue is related to, stuff like that. And so if you just give us, the information, the issue that you're running into, this will get sent right to our services team and they'll take a look and provide some technical assistance for you. So if you have issues logging in or, you're getting an error thrown when you try to submit your data, you can feel free to just click this button here and let us know. So that's about all I have for today. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to just let me know.
So
does anyone have any questions? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, Ashley McCleary. So I know I'm going to have a hard time getting my other providers to log their charts. Is there any way that I can go in and do, I kind of was thinking I could do a chart review for them and enter their data, but it doesn't look like I could do that without their AAP login. Is that correct?
So, Kristen, don't get mad at me. We can set that up for you if that's how, if that's how your practice is going to function best. So if we give you, my group tab is actually where this is going to be helpful for you. So let's say I set you up as a group administrator, your name will be listed here, and you'll actually see the enter data button next to everybody's name within your practice. So you will be able to, if that's okay, with your project staff and project leaders to do that, we can definitely set you up with those permissions so that you can enter on behalf of others in your practice.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to be more productive. Did you want me to just email you?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Kristen? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Because when we met yesterday, I wasn't sure if that would be reasonable for folks, but if that's easiest for your institution, then we can certainly set that up.
Awesome. Okay, thanks.
Is there, do you guys want to know, like, if a trainee sees the person versus, like, if it's a primary patient of an attending, or does that not matter?
We do care about that, Marina, and that question is on the list. I saw that it didn't show up here. I'll make sure that that question is added.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, you said to email you, Kristen, if we want to put data in for our whole group?
Yes, but email both Kristen. So Kristen Kaseska and Kristen, and I apologize if I say your last name wrong, Managlia.
Okay, yeah. Great, thank you.
Are there any other questions about the QIDA system? All right, great. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Sure, no problem.
And then, as John Klein mentioned earlier in the call, we're just awaiting the official MOC paperwork that says we have approval to start the project. So hopefully by the end of the week or by next Monday, registration will be set up. You'll be able to log into the QIDA system and start entering data. You all will receive an email from me, Kristen Kaseska, once we have all of our ducks in a row and you're ready to start entering data. So please be on the lookout for that. And that's really it for our call today. Are there any other questions or comments about the meeting, about the project, about anything at all?
This is Marina again. So will this webinar be available to us to review?
Yes. So this webinar is being recorded, so I can send that out to the group once the webinar is over. And if you want to share that with your colleagues, other clinicians that are participating in the project, then you can certainly do so.
And then for the meeting, do you want us to do our individual 20 or charts or as many as possible?
Definitely at least 20 per participant. If you can, as John mentioned, I know we're kind of in a time crunch, so if you're not able to complete all 20 prior to the meeting, then that's okay. In order to complete the data cycle, you will eventually need to complete 20. But yeah, if each clinician or each participant can complete as many charts as possible, then that will give us more data to review at the meeting.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions?
And when do you guys think you'll have it up so we can get in there and start adding data?
Yeah, so the goal is by the end of the week or next Monday. All right, well, thank you everyone for participating in today's webinar. I might see some of you again tomorrow for the second demonstration at 6 p.m. Central Time. Otherwise, look out for an email from me regarding when you can start accessing the QIDA module. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that was 25 minutes.